I am completely in charge of my mental faculties. I live a very independent life for someone disabled. I like to socialize. Before the pandemic, I was out every day on my own, shopping and meeting people. I graduated from university with a contemporary dance degree in 2014 and 2018 a master's. Some background information. I'm told I have athetoid cerebral palsy and I don't know what this means and I don't care. This is because I am in the best health of my life and my positive outlook on life means I'm getting better. Before I was 6 or 7, I could not sit up unaided, then I received 6 or 12 months of intensive Peter technique torture. I use the term torture deliberately because it did vastly improve my cerebral palsy, but this period of my life was a horrific nightmare because while at Cheyne Walk Spastic School, London, yes it was called Spastic School, I had up to 4 people, 6 hours a day, 5 days a week, manipulating my limbs. Also for reasons I do not understand I was dosed up on Valium and so my memory of this period is very distorted. Between the ages of 9 and 12 whilst at Dame Hannah Rogers School I did receive weekly physiotherapy and here again it was barbaric because the reversal meant my feet was placed in splints and my legs bound to the table, while my upper torso and arms were pulled in different directions. Before the age of 14, I could not read or write and so it was a great achievement to pass CSE English before leaving school. For a little context, in 1982 I was one of the first persons to receive an award from the Independent Living Fund. At this time the fund did not have much money and my award was enough for 6 hours of care per day. This meant I could either sit at home all day or go out and engage with the world alone. After a year of going out alone I was transformed from a handicapped youth to a confident severely disabled man, who, despite having a very bad speech problem, could cope in the normal world and began to really love the independence and absolute freedom. I found that some people were very happy to help me if our first encounters were straightforward and not demanding. The first time I found this was when I managed to order a coffee in a coffee shop. The second time that I went back in, the same person, who served me, came up to me, asked if I wanted the same and proceeded to help me. After my 6th or 7th visit the other staff started to serve me. Within a year the staff had become so comfortable, they found most of them could understand my speech and one of them became my full-time carer. I found in pubs, clubs, shops and even banks, once our person mastered serving me, other people would and so my independence grew. The only place that I feel like a second-class person is when interfacing with the NHS. Luckily I'm rarely ill but doctors find this hard to countenance. Even today, I rarely go out with a carer because I value my independence and from those early days I found it was not necessary. The original draft of this narrative was written in Costa Coffee. When I used to go, someone took my money, I go sit at a table, then a cooled coffee and straw is brought and lastly, the person got my head pointer and iPad out, place the iPad on the table and my hat on my head. I was the first disabled person to do a contemporary dance BA degree at Plymouth University. Before I started my dance theatre course I stated I did not need or want a carer to accompany me whilst at university. Although the whole department was greatly concerned about this it was agreed to try it for a month. Although some students found it hard, most students and lecturers found I could cope and the whole department embraced that working with me things may and would go wrong, so my fellow performers would have to improvise. In class I worked out of my wheelchair on my knees. If I fell over, the class did not stop, someone helped me up or the lecturer kicked me. Before doing my degree I couldn't get in and out of the bath. 6 months in I accidentally did it and now I do it daily. Also because of contemporary dance training and Adam Benjamin I rarely fall over. Now, I realize I used to spend literally weeks with concussion. Adam Benjamin is probably the leader in disability dance practice thinking. When class or rehearsals were over someone or many people helped me to get my coat on and assist me into my wheelchair. Whilst in my first year at university a student at Plymouth College of Art asked me to sit nude for my portrait. She asked me if I worked out because I had good muscle tone so I explained it was because of cerebral palsy. A few months later because I was very professional at being a life model, the college decided to employ me. Between 2016 and 2018 I gained a performance master's focusing on disability, dance and nudity. 25 years ago the Disabled Discrimination Act was passed. Although it has empowered many disabled people, personally it has made my life more handicapped because airlines demand I'm accompanied by a carer. I am not worried about disability awareness because I accept I am severely disabled. This is how many people see me and I feel it's just stupid to say I'm not. Nothing really upsets me, but I do offend some people because I'm not disabled aware. When I ran for MEP, member of the European Parliament, Plymouth Evening Herald referred to me as Disabledkevin. I love this label. I'm clearly disabled and called Kevin. New Labour really developed my creativity because I had to find ways to negate my disability, engage with the national media and write statements which could be interpreted. In the 90s I was the first candidate to record a video message for selection meetings I could not attend because constituencies in the country would often hold selections on the same evening. My fellow candidates were often impressed by my professionalism, but much to my regret members of local Labour parties could not buy into the fact I could represent them despite having a speech problem. When I was at college, where I was an academic failure, I expressed a desire and achieved the goal to live independently. Despite everyone constantly saying it was impossible, since 1982 I have lived in my own home and begun to find myself, my confidence, belief, my emotional and creative horizons are constantly growing and developing. I do acknowledge that I am very lucky because I have masses of self-confidence which allows me to do more than most. I think if I was growing up today I would not be as independent because it's the default position that disabled people should be accompanied by carers. In the last 2 years I am asked daily where my carer is, and sometimes other disabled people ask their carers to inquire about my carer. It may be helpful to give you some details about my disability so you have a more complete picture of who I am. I can get around my flat on my knees. I'm unable to feed myself or do household chores, which is excellent. Very few people can understand my speech until they spend time with me. I can take drinks if they are placed on the table with a straw in them. For the last 20 years I have been offered many kinds of communication aids which I have turned down for 2 reasons. Daily I speak to many different people about a large array of topics because these devices have limited vocabulary, which is not helpful. Lately my iPad has become my communication aid because most people can operate it, and I write my words in pages for people to read by using my nose or head pointer. I interview, employ and train my own carers. In 2016 the government shut the Independent Living Fund and my care was reduced from 24 hours a day to 6. Yes, I lost 75% of my support. Unlike everyone in Plymouth, the council funded my care at the higher rate for 2 months because I had good grounds for illegal review. Everyone else locally had their needs assessed 1 week before the council took over, and many very disabled people lost their overnight care. Please like this video and hit subscribe on my YouTube channel to be notified of new videos. Thank you very much. I'm Disabledkevin on YouTube, Instagram and Facebook.